All right, welcome back. So let's talk about how to apply. Now that we've learned some of who you're not, let's talk about who you actually are, because you're amazing and you're way better and way more than what you ever imagined. And that's not in an egotistical way. That's like in a divine sort of way. Like your soul is so much bigger than you can even possibly fathom, right? And so what we want to do in this process of alignment is to get our current selves in alignment with our future selves. And you can think of that as, okay, like let's say you were going on a journey. Let's say that you were going on a journey on a ship and you're in the middle of the ocean and you were given a map. And this map is, let's call it prosperity land. This is like what your current thought of what your ideal is, and this is what you think, your prosperity land is. And so here you go, you're on the ship, you totally know how to drive the ship, you're good. You have your map, you have your compass, you've got your star charts so that you can, look at the stars and help navigate that way. You've got the sun, so you can kind of orient yourself as to where you are. Okay, now let's say that all of a sudden you realize that the map you were given was the map maker's idea of where prosperity land is. And that's where his prosperity land is, but it's not where your prosperity land is. And let's just say that that map was created for his, personal 42 degrees, like how we were talking before about how in order to see a rainbow, you need to have light refracting at exactly 42 degrees. Well, let's say that that was his personal 42 degrees, but it's not yours. It's not what's appropriate for you. So you're like, great, well, I got to throw this map away because I'm going to end up, on course for this other prosperity land that's not my own. So I've got to rely on, the star charts and my compass and my personal whims, my intuition. And let's say that you realize that you're kind of lost. Like you're kind of like dead in the water. It's like what you thought you knew, or what you thought you knew who you were. Like we just did this exercise where we talked about all the things that you're not, that you probably thought you were. And you're like, great. Like, who am I actually? Where am I headed actually? You realize that, you've been headed towards a place that maybe was right for somebody else, but isn't your ideal. So how do you get in alignment? How do you get in alignment with your 42 degrees that lines you up exactly to your prosperity land? Well, there is a process to this. And, I've invested a lot in my own personal development. And a lot of times, like working with different coaches or going to different workshops, like it's kind of like that map a little bit, like the map that doesn't work because it worked for them, but it doesn't work for you. This is very much a personal process. I do have some tools. I do have some navigational tools, but I can't drive the ship for you and I can't make the map for you. All I can do is give you the navigational tools. So you can think of this as having a personal navigator, like way back when people, did a lot of commerce on ships, they would have the captain, that's you, and they would have a navigator who is an expert at reading the star charts or looking at the compass and being able to tell the captain where to steer the ship. And so I've gathered like all these different like tools and experiences and distilled them down because I love efficiency. And a lot of times when I was working with these other people and attending workshops or, personal one-on-one coaching, I felt like, on one hand, I felt like they were just like a coach was dispelling advice. Like she would give it to everybody else. Like, oh, this is what you do. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, she tells it to this person and this person, and it's not really different for anybody. It's just like, it's the thing, it's the method. That's what you do. But I felt like sometimes I was getting a little frustrated because I felt like I was in a little bit of a different spot. And yeah, I would probably, like, if you're a coach and you're listening to me speak, you're like, oh, she's one of those. She likes to do it on her own. She likes to do it a different way. That wasn't really it at all. In fact, I can tell you a little bit why, is because I believe as human beings, we go through these different cycles of life. And depending on the cycle of life or the cycle of your business, different things work for you at different times. It's like in nature, we've got spring, summer, fall, and winter. Okay. And in the winter, you can't force something to grow. If it doesn't have the sun and it doesn't have the water and it doesn't have, the proper photosynthesis, it's not going to grow. You've got to wait till spring and then summer to really reap that harvest. So it's understanding these universal laws and understanding the cycles that people are in and applying that all. That's really how, that's really why I should say that people who are dispelling the same advice to everybody and not considering the different situations that they're in, why that's not that 42-degree alignment for that person. So yeah, and sometimes working with people, I feel like we're just whacking at branches. It's like, okay, we chop that branch off and then we chop this branch off. And maybe you can think of it as like a belief or an attitude or a mindset. And you don't really feel like you're getting to the core of the issue. And not only that, but it's like they don't understand where you're headed, like what your future self is or what that 42 degrees is. So how do you know that you're whacking at the right branches? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's like all of these things are what I've learned to create a process that I'm going to teach you. I'm going to give you the tools where you can get yourself aligned and see and know with pretty good accuracy that you're on the right track. And for those of you who might need some extra support, not everyone wants that, but for those who do, we have a good community, as well as if you want to work one-on-one, there are some possibilities to do that as well. But I want to get these tools out to as many people as possible, because I do believe right now on this earth, as we speak, there's a huge tidal wave of events happening, and there's a huge rebirth happening. And the way that we've done business in the past isn't going to cut the mustard in the future. And you've evolved even since you started your business. You're not the same person that you once were. And so if you can get a clue as to who the person is that you would like to become, and who you're meant to become, who your soul wants you to become, then this is a way. This is a way you can do it. And I've got to warn you, it's not like a step 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you the tools and I'm going to give you a process, but you've got to see what works for you. And you've got to, I'm going to teach you how to really connect with your intuition and open that up, because only through that can you really become aligned with your personal 42 degrees. People can dispense all the advice that they want. You can go to your mastermind and you can get a collection of ideas and you can crowd share advice, but they're all saying that advice from their perspective. And what you've got to really master is the ability to discern and the ability to really connect with your intuition and that divine essence, that soul, so that you can uncover who you actually are. And by doing that, applying it in all these different areas of your business and your life, right? And when you do that, you can see all these different areas of your life truly blossom. And, that next level that you've been looking for, whether it's in your business or in your personal life, these tools can help you align yourself to that ideal, to your soul at your personal 42 degrees. So I invite you to come on this journey with yourself, with your soul, and I'll be along for part of the ride to give you the navigation that you need. And then when you're on your own, when you're good, you don't need that navigation anymore. I can jump ship and go somewhere else, but you're supported. And the universe is supporting you by watching this video. It's time. There's this saying that when the student is ready, the master will appear. And I'm not saying I'm a master by any means. Like I've learned a lot. I've gone through like some huge shakeups, both personally and professionally. And I am how would I put this? I am like a rabid consumer of information, and then I apply it, and I figured out what works and what doesn't. I'm kind of like this mad scientist, and I figured out what works and what doesn't, and what's the proper, or not the proper, but the accelerated way to come in alignment, and a way that other people can learn, where you don't have to depend on someone else who has greater, wiser knowledge about who you are. It's actually a self-discovery process, and I just happen to have the tools that can help you get there faster than if you would on your own. So if you're up for the journey, including even the messy parts, without the messy parts, we couldn't have the amazing parts. So we couldn't find the joy without the mess. But if you're up for it and you want to do this, go ahead and check out what I have for you below, and check out these tools. And I'm really looking forward to teaching you what I've learned. So, and helping you navigate as long as you need. And anyway, I'm excited. So I'm excited what's in front of you, and how you can really become that future self, and let that future self pull you in, instead of like being tossed about on the sea and going wherever the wind blows, but now being set, on course, and being in complete alignment with why you came here, your true purpose and your mission, and being aligned with your soul.